Hi, good evening. This is Jabril Street. This is my submission of the alternative option for Husc 142, counseling clients with substance use disorders. I'm going to start this off by speaking on what the role of a peer recovery coach is. That is the non-clinical intervention that I chose to do this presentation on, because this is something that's near and dear to my heart. It's actually what I am currently practicing in my professional role. See right here, peer recovery coach, GBMC in the emergency department. But we'll get into that later. What I want to start with is what I cited. It was very interesting. It was one of the first things that I came across as I was preparing for this. And this is a citing from Kang and Kang from, the roles and effects of peer recovery coach intervention in the field of substance abuse and integrative literature review from Asian Nursing Research. And it goes, PRCs are experts and mentors specifically trained to help individuals successfully recover from SUDs by leveraging their own experience of recovery from substance use disorders and other mental illnesses. PRCs provide a wide variety of services, such as instilling hope for recovery in people with similar experiences, accompanying them through the recovery process, setting recovery goals, supporting the roadmap development process, and helping to gain access to necessary resources. First thing came to mind was I couldn't have said it better myself, but I digress. But it kind of hit it on the head. As I said, I am a recovery coach. This is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And just taking a start, going off of the questions in the assignment. Number one is describe the intervention. So best way that I can describe it is, in my capacity, I provide resources and support for individuals when they come through the emergency department. And that intervention consists of, first and foremost, introducing myself, letting them know that I am in active recovery and that I'm here to help them. That no matter where they are in their stage of use, whether they know what that stage is or whether we'll get to discovering it during the course of our engagement, I definitely can relate, I understand, and I've been there. And that's one of the assets that I believe, one of my strong suits, is that I'm able to engage with the patient and let them know, give them kind of sense of comfort that, yeah, okay, this dude knows what he's talking about. He's been there. And again, the purpose of that intervention is to basically, step in and say, hey, look, man, let's talk. Let's see where you're at with your use. Questions such as, how long have you been using? To what degree you're using? How often? And namely, what's the reason behind your choice to use? What are you getting from that? And the questions that are posed kind of bring forth the information necessary to make an analysis of where they are at and present that back to them through engagement and kind of help them come around to seeing where they're headed with continued substance use. During the intervention, the process also kind of enlightens them to some things that they may not know about the substances that they're using. Case in point, when I engage with a lot of my clients that come through the emergency department, shortness of breath, chest pains, tightness in the chest, severe vomiting, they're unaware of what's called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, which means, I tell them it's kind of like the equivalent to alcohol poisoning, in that you drink too much, your body throws up. Your system is compromised because it's overloaded with alcohol. And in essence, cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome is the same thing. It comes from smoking too much cannabis And some of the determining factors that can lead to the CHS are, one, excessive smoking, as well as consuming contaminated cannabis. Most people think that weed is natural, it comes from the earth. Well, that may be true, that it is grown from the ground, from a seed, but there are fertilizers and there are other chemicals that are being incorporated into the process of getting this substance to market, and that kind of corrupts it. A lot of people use it to enhance the effects of it, and as a result, it's causing a harmful outcome for the consumer, and that being cannabinoid hyperemesis. So it's educating, letting them know what's going on, the different effects of substances on the body. Do a lot of harm prevention, what we call harm prevention, and letting them know that along with the cannabis, there's education with regards to opiates, what it's doing to your body, how it's compromising the immune system. With alcohol, the information that I provide to them with regards to how alcohol sits in your bloodstream and it absorbs all of the vital nutrients that your body needs in order to perform properly, and how that is absorbed by the alcohol. I tried my best to educate them, and again, yes, that's part of the intervention for me. The next thing, the effectiveness of that intervention, I believe, is, first of all, you're educating them. A majority of the clients that come through are not going to be aware of the scientific data that you or I, as a counselor, will have. And those that are, they're probably vaguely aware of it. I don't know of too many people who are quote unquote addicted to drugs, whether they see it or not, or even if they're just casual users that are aware of some of the information that we have. So in providing that information, the intervention is very effective. I also believe that another factor of the effectiveness of this intervention is my presentation. I used to think for a long time, the body tattoos, the mouth full of gold teeth, the fact that I got a mohawk, that I'm a large guy, that I got a beard full of hair. People used to tell me all the time, I look like a criminal, I look like a thug, so on and so forth. At one point, I didn't care in my active addiction. When I began to develop a purpose in life, that finally being discovered as what I'm doing now, I kind of embraced my look, because I've always been a people person and had the ability to hold a conversation, or at least strike one once the ice is broken. And my clients have even shared with me, you bring authenticity to it. A lot of times I tell people, I talk my shit, but I speak my truth. And they respect that. It kind of, again, breaks that ice and warms them up to be willing to engage. So for the counselor, I definitely believe that you have to find a way to warm up to them, or to get them to warm up to you. For me, it's my look. You know what I mean? They see, I look like I've been in the streets, I guess some of them have said, but I'm a cleaned up version of it. The way that I present myself, the way that I am able to articulate my thoughts, the fact that everything that I present to them is not only my truth based on real life experiences, but also the facts, the statistics that I'm speaking to them about are all confirmed. And I can pull those things up. I can cite things to them, so to speak, even though I haven't gotten it to the extent of like I'm doing here in this paper and previous assignments. I can back up what I'm saying. And it's definitely an effectiveness in being able to do that, and the intervention, the effectiveness of the intervention is, I think I pretty much covered that part. Recommendations for practice. Good question. What would I suggest as far as recommendations for practice? I would say be yourself, be authentic. You definitely have to be genuine. You, as we've been taught, and just as I knew before I even took these classes, before I even got my recovery coach certification, when I used to share with people when I was in prison. You have to come from the heart. You have to show the client that you're sincere, that you really care about them. You definitely have to give that sense of understanding where they're coming from and being willing to understand where they're coming from and be patient in the process of getting that. It's not going to come easy. So I would definitely recommend that you be patient. Do your research. You know, one thing that I do in my job when my clients come up on what we call our grease board, meaning that they qualified for an assessment, intervention with us based on an assessment that's already done, I do my research on that client. I read what's in the chart. And if they've had several encounters in our hospital or other hospitals connected within the SBIRT web, I guess you'd say, or SBIRT network, because they are in just about every hospital here in Baltimore. I check those out. I get my information together. I try to find out as much as I can so that I'm going in fully armed and aware of what this person is, what they've gone through, or have some idea. And that way, you know, it prepares me for how I'm going to approach that individual. And that's definitely important. Let me see. I'm kind of cheating here a little bit. I'm actually looking at what it is that we're asked to describe in here. So I think I've done the citing, references in APA format. Not too good at that. I haven't done that yet. But overall, I think you get a gist of what I'm saying. At the end of the day, a recovery coach, man, is somebody that really cares about what they're doing, understands because we've been there. And I think that recovery coaches are really essential to assisting people to not only come to recognize that they may have a substance use issue, but are also essential in being a part of that individual's desire to change, or getting them on the path to at least giving consideration to it. As we've studied, there are 5 stages of change: pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. 9 times out of 10, a person that you meet is going to be in those first 2, either pre-contemplation or contemplation, meaning they either don't know anything about it and don't want to know anything about it, could care less, or they're somewhat aware. You know, I use that to my advantage when I see them in the emergency department. Look, bro, you know, it's the reason that you're here. You know, you came in with a tightness of breath. You came in sloppy drunk, you know, laying on the floor in your own urine. That's the issue. If you're doing that on a regular basis, then that's something we need to take a look at. What is it that's going on in your life that's got you doing those things to where you wind up in the position that you get into? So, I mean, for me, it's rewarding, it's gratifying. I've had the privilege and the honor of not just following up with many of the patients that I encounter on a regular basis. I've actually met some of them outside of the hospital setting. I've seen them at meetings. I get calls on my personal phone. I offer it to them from the first time that we meet. Simply, hey, look, man, if you ever need somebody to talk to, hit me up, because I genuinely care. And as I said earlier, you definitely have to have that compassion and empathy in your heart and not be biased. You know, you can't look down on somebody else because they might have been in a far worse condition than what you may have been in when you were out there smoking crack or drinking or shooting up drugs, or even try to minimize what you did in comparison to theirs. We should all be on an even playing field and respected. And that's definitely something that's essential to being a coach. I think that a coach who has that compassion, really wants to help and is willing to go that extra mile, has developed the patience and the techniques to go in and ask the right questions and give that combination of compassion as they're engaging, and let them know throughout the conversation that you're there with them, be it in eye contact, acknowledging what they say with the mm-hms and yeah, you right, or carrying on with them, you know, finishing their sentence, or saying it with them as they're coming on that last portion of the sentence. to make sure that you have that connection with them is very important. And, unfortunately, addicts don't really get that a lot, when they go into certain settings. I've heard of group settings, and I've been in group settings, and I know that they have the opportunity to participate there, and I'm definitely not going to say anything negative. But I believe strongly that a peer recovery coach is a great facet to this recovery process. I've had the privilege of meeting a great many in my short time as a certified recovery coach. It's only been 7 months, and I've learned a lot. I continue to learn. I have a great support circle of not just people that help me with my recovery, but also help me with this learning process. I mean, I've been out of school for over 30 years. I'll be 52 at the end of this month, and I think the last time I was in college classes, I was 19, 20, and I was running out of the classroom every 15, 20 minutes trying to sell a bag of cocaine to somebody on campus. So, but at the end of the day, man, I definitely believe that recovery coach, specialist, support specialist, whatever title you want to put on it, if you're a recovery coach, you're in a great position. It's something that's definitely essential to help people that want to be helped, and even those that don't want to be helped, just giving them the notion, letting them know that there is somebody that sees things the way that they've seen them, that thinks the way that they think, that have actually been there in them trenches, like they're currently in them trenches, but managed to climb their way out, and reaching back to give a hand and say, hey, look, bro, I got you. I can help you. Let me help you. Let's figure this out together. You can't beat that, man. It don't get no sweeter than that. I wouldn't change my position in life, my career position, for anything in the world. And, by all intents and purposes, I'm kind of like at the bottom of the barrel. We don't get paid as much as therapists or licensed social workers and things of that nature, but at the same time, they not down their front line like we are. We just coming out of the trenches, so we still got that mud on us. We still got that residue. And that gives us authenticity when it comes to speaking to these people, because we definitely can relate. We've been there. We know what it's like. And now we want to show them what it's like with life on the other side. And I'm privileged, I'm honored, and I'm grateful to be in the position that I am. Thanks for letting me share. Have a great one.